In all my years observing people, I've noticed something curious. Many men and women walk through life wondering why others do not seem drawn to them, why conversations feel flat, why people do not lean in, why connections fade as quickly as they begin. And yet the reason is simple. They make others feel small, unseen, or unnoticed, often without the slightest intention of doing so. Most people try to be liked by adding something. They try to speak more cleverly, to dress a little sharper, to improve their posture, their tone, their expressions. They polish the surface again and again, hoping the world will finally see their worth. But in all this effort, they miss the one thing they must first remove. They remain so focused on how they appear that they never notice how the other person feels in their presence. This is the silent habit that drains your attractiveness without your knowledge. Self-centered attention. When your mind is occupied with questions like, do I sound interesting, or do they like me? You cannot give the other person what they truly want, to feel valued, to feel heard, to feel significant. And the moment people sense you are more interested in yourself than in them, something inside them quietly folds. They withdraw, sometimes politely, sometimes unconsciously, but always definitely. Let me give you a few simple examples. A man sits across from someone he hopes to impress. Instead of discovering who she is, he fills the air with stories about himself. He may think he is building connection, but the spark dies, not because he lacks charm, but because he has offered nothing that makes her feel alive. A woman speaks in a meeting, but interrupts others before they finish their sentences. She may be competent, confident, capable, but people feel drained around her. Not because she means harm, but because she leaves no room for others to exist fully. A friend joins a group conversation, yet asks no questions of anyone. He waits for his turn to speak or for his moment to tell a story. The others walk away feeling strangely empty, and they do not quite know why. Over time, invitations stop coming. People do not remember your clever remarks, your quick replies, or your well-rehearsed stories. They remember how they felt standing beside you. Did they feel expanded or diminished, important or ignored, seen or overlooked? This is the true currency of human attraction. We are drawn irresistibly to those who awaken the best in us. And here is the good news. Attractiveness is not a mystery reserved for the few, nor is it a matter of looks, talent, or social brilliance. There is one simple shift, one change of focus that makes you instantly more appealing to anyone you meet. It does not require pretending, performing, or becoming someone you are not. It requires only that you turn the direction of your attention outward, toward the person in front of you. In the next part, I will show you exactly how this shift works and why it has the power to transform every relationship, every conversation, and every first impression you make. In all my studies of human behavior, I found that the most attractive people share one simple habit. They make others feel interesting. Not intimidated, not impressed. Interesting. Being with them feels like stepping into a warm light where you matter a little more, where your thoughts and stories suddenly seem worth telling. There is a law of human nature at work here. People are irresistibly drawn to those who awaken their sense of worth. We admire those who admire us. We feel loyal to those who make us feel alive. You may think you must shine like a star to be attractive, but the truth is quite the opposite. The people who are most magnetic are not always the ones in the spotlight. They are often the ones who quietly turn the spotlight toward others. Attractiveness, in the truest sense, is not about being impressive. It is about making others feel impressive in your presence. When someone walks away from you thinking, I like myself when I'm with that person, they will want to come back. They may not know exactly why. They will say, there's something about him, or she has such a good energy. What they are really saying is, I feel more valuable when I'm around them. Psychologically, this is very simple. When you help people feel interesting, you are touching their deep need for importance. You are telling them, in 100 small ways, you matter. Your thoughts are worth hearing. Your experiences are worth exploring. That feeling activates trust, warmth, and respect. The mind quietly records, I feel good here. I feel seen here. and we seek out the places and people where we feel this way, a person who listens with genuine curiosity shines brighter than someone who speaks brilliantly but only about himself. I have watched this play out in countless conversations. One man is clever, witty, always ready with a story. Another man is quieter, but he listens, asks questions, and seems honestly fascinated by what others say. At the end of the evening, guess which one people describe as so interesting? The quiet one. Why? Because through his interest, he made them feel interesting. Let us put this into very ordinary situations. In conversation, most people are simply waiting for their turn to talk. They nod politely while their mind prepares the next line. The attractive person does something different. He leans slightly forward, his eyes attentive, and he asks, "How did that happen?" Or, "What was that like for you?" He is not pretending. He truly wants to know. The other person feels their own story expand. They think, "I never talk this much with anyone." And they walk away thinking, "What a wonderful person he is." In dating, many believe they must entertain, impress, with stories, achievements, opinions. But the most attractive moments often come when you allow the other person to unfold. Instead of turning every topic back to yourself, you might say, "You mentioned you love traveling. What's been your favorite place, and why?" Then you listen. You ask a follow-up question. You notice what lights up their eyes. They will remember that feeling far more than any joke you told. In business, you may think respect comes from dominating the discussion, from having the most ideas, but the truly attractive leader is the one who lifts the ideas of others. In a meeting, instead of saying, "Here's what I think we should do," you might begin with, "Susan raised an interesting point earlier. Could you expand on that?" Or, "John, you've worked closest to this problem. What's your view?" People will work harder for a manager who makes them feel valued than for one who constantly overshadows them. You see the pattern. Before, your inner question might have been, "How do I sound? Am I doing well? Do they like me?" That mindset traps your attention on yourself, and the more you focus inward, the less room you leave for others. The attractive person asks a different question. How do they feel when they are talking to me? That one shift changes everything. It alters your eyes, your tone, your body, and your words. You stop performing and start relating. This does not mean you must be silent or that your stories do not matter. It means that your first goal is not to display yourself, but to discover the person in front of you. When you do speak, your words will carry more weight because they come from someone who has already shown that they care. In the next part, we will turn this big idea into a simple inner ritual: what to think, how to prepare yourself, and how to show up so that people instantly feel more interesting, more alive, and more comfortable in your presence. That is the heart of real attractiveness. Before you say a single word, your presence has already spoken. You may think that attractiveness begins with your first clever sentence, but long before your tongue moves, people have already started to feel something about you. They notice the way you enter a room, the way your eyes move, the way your shoulders sit, the way your attention seems scattered or steady. All of this sends a message. I am here with you, or I am somewhere else inside my own head. If your mind is busy with, do they like me? Am I doing well? Your body will show it. Your face tightens, your eyes dart, your movements become stiff or rushed. You are not a bad person. You're simply too busy watching yourself. But when you shift that inner question to, what can I discover about this person? Everything changes. The tension leaves your features. Your gaze steadies. Your presence softens. You become more attractive without changing anything about your appearance because you have changed the direction of your attention. Here is a simple inner exercise you can practice before any social moment. As you are about to meet someone, walk into a meeting, join a group, sit down with a stranger, say quietly to yourself, I want to discover something interesting about this person. Not to impress, not to perform, not to survive the interaction, to discover. This one thought has a remarkable effect. It relaxes the lines of your face, warms your tone, and straightens your posture in a natural way. You are no longer entering as an anxious actor. You are entering as a curious human being. There are a few small signals of presence that people feel at once. You do not need to exaggerate them. You only need to let them happen. Offer gentle but confident eye contact. Not a stare, not a challenge, just a steady look that says, "I see you." Let a warm, brief smile touch your mouth and your eyes when you greet someone. It does not have to be wide or constant. Even a quiet smile at the right moment can melt a great deal of initial tension. Angle your body slightly toward the person you're with. Leaning back, angling away, or keeping your feet pointed toward the door all suggest you are halfway out already. A slight forward orientation says, "You have my attention. Move at a calm pace." Rushing into a conversation, fidgeting, tapping, checking your surroundings every few seconds tells others that your mind is scattered. A slower, steadier rhythm signals, "I am not in a hurry to escape you." When you do these things without acting, but because you are genuinely interested, people feel it immediately. They may not be able to describe it, but they relax. Their shoulders loosen, they breathe more deeply, they become more willing to share. Human beings open up around those who seem unhurried, present, and kind. I recall a young man who attended one of my classes, painfully shy, and convinced that he was simply not attractive in any social sense. He was not talking about looks. He meant that people never seemed drawn to him. In breaks, he stood in the corner, watching others talk and laugh. When I asked him what he was thinking in those moments, he said, "I'm wondering what they think of me. I'm afraid I'll bother them if I join." We tried a small experiment. I asked him, before the next break, to change just one thing. Instead of silently repeating, "Do they like me?" he was to repeat, "What can I appreciate in them?" He was not to force himself to be charming or witty. He was simply to walk up to 2 or 3 people, look at them, and think, "There is something interesting here. I want to find it." At the next break, he did as I asked. He walked a little more upright. He approached a group and listened. He noticed that one man spoke passionately about his work, and he said, "You really seem to enjoy what you do. What got you started in that field?" The man's face brightened. Later, the shy student asked a woman, "You mentioned you've moved several times. What was that like for you?" Soon he was in the middle of a lively conversation. When he returned to his seat, he looked genuinely surprised. "They actually seemed happy to talk to me," he said. I told him, "No. They were happy to talk about themselves to someone who cared." You became attractive to them the moment you became interested in them. Nothing about his face or height had changed. His inner posture had changed, and the outer world responded. Many people, when they feel nervous, fall into a set of common mistakes that silently push others away. Some overperform. They try too hard to be entertaining, throwing out jokes, dramatic opinions, and big gestures. It often feels overwhelming rather than inviting. Others overtalk. They fill every gap in the conversation with their own stories. People walk away feeling exhausted, as if they never had a place in the interaction. Some over-explain themselves, justifying every small action or opinion. This creates a feeling of tension and self-consciousness that spreads to those around them. Others appear distracted. Their eyes wander, they check their phones, they look past the person they're with. This may not be intentional, but it sends a clear message. You are not important enough to hold my full attention. That is the opposite of attractiveness. The remedy is not to become perfect, but to become present. If you catch yourself performing, slow down and return to curiosity. What is interesting about this person? If you notice you are talking too much, pause and ask a question. If you feel the urge to justify yourself, remember that you are not on trial. If you catch your eyes wandering, gently bring them back to the face in front of you and let yourself truly see them. Your inner posture determines your outer attractiveness. When your inner posture is defensive, "I must protect myself, I must prove myself," your presence becomes hard or distant. When your inner posture is open, "I am here to discover, to appreciate, to learn," your presence becomes warm and inviting. People are not attracted only to faces and figures. They are attracted to the way they feel in your company. And that begins always with what you hold in your mind before you even speak. Now that your inner posture is set, let us make this very practical. People do not feel your good intentions unless they appear in your words and actions. So we will build a simple outward ritual, a way of beginning almost any interaction that makes others feel interesting and at ease. You can think of it as a small formula, not to recite like a machine, but to keep in mind as a guide. Warm greeting, name, brief situational comment, simple question about them. It might look like this in practice. You walk up, you smile gently, and you say, "Hi, good morning." Warm greeting, "I'm Sarah. Name?" "I've just joined this department." Brief situational comment, "How did you get involved in this project?" Simple question about them. No performance, no dramatic opening. Just a natural beginning that says, "I'm here, I'm human, and I'm interested in you." Questions are the engine of attractiveness because people love to talk about their experiences and impressions. The world often talks over them, rushes past them, or judges them. When you ask a sincere question and then listen, you are giving them a rare gift, space to be themselves. They do not feel examined, they feel invited. Your style in asking matters. I have always recommended that you be open, sincere, and calm, not interrogative, not mechanical. A barrage of questions feels like an interview. A single, gentle question followed by true listening feels like respect. Your tone should say, "I'm genuinely curious," not, "I'm collecting information." The difference lies in your intention, and people can sense it. Let us look at a few ordinary situations. At work, you meet someone new on your team. You could say, "Hey," and then retreat into silence, leaving both of you awkward. Or you could follow our little pattern. "Hi, I'm David. We haven't met yet. I just joined the marketing side. How did you get involved in this project?" Most people will gladly answer. You may discover they have been with the company for years, or that this project excites them, or that they stumbled into it by accident. Whatever they say, you now have something real to build on. On a date, instead of launching into a long explanation of who you are, you might say, "It's really nice to finally meet you. I'm glad we could find the time. What do you enjoy most in your free time when you're not working?" This does two things. It shows that you are glad to be there, and it invites them to talk about something they enjoy. As they speak, watch their eyes, their hands, their smile. Notice what lights them up, and gently ask one more question about that. You are saying, without words, "Your joy matters to me." At a networking event or social gathering, you could stand alone and hope someone rescues you from your own thoughts. Or you could walk up to one person and say, "Hi, I'm Michael. I don't think we've met yet. What brought you here today?" Many people feel out of place in such settings. Your willingness to ask a simple, human question often comes as a relief. You become the person who made the room feel smaller and friendlier. I remember one young woman who told me she felt invisible at parties. She stood against the wall, she said, and watched others laugh and talk. "No one ever comes to me," she complained. I suggested she reverse the situation by using this very approach. At the next gathering, she chose 3 people. She walked up, offered a warm greeting, her name, one simple comment about the event, and then a question that turned the attention to them. She said to one man, "Hi, I'm Laura. This place is louder than I expected. How do you know the host?" He smiled and began to tell her a story about their college days. To another person, she said, "I'm still figuring out where everything is. Have you been here before?" That opened a conversation about the city, favorite spots, and shared experiences. By the end of the evening, she was not by the wall, but in the middle of a small circle, talking easily. "I didn't become more interesting," she told me later. "I just became more interested." The room had not changed. She had. As you practice this external ritual, be careful of a few common mistakes. Do not jump to your own story too quickly. If someone shares that they love hiking, resist the immediate urge to say, "Oh, me too," and then speak for 5 minutes about your adventures. It is not wrong to connect through similarity, but give them time to finish their thought first. Let them feel that their story has space. Do not strain to impress. The more you try to appear clever, the more self-conscious you become, and self-consciousness pulls you out of the moment. Remember, your goal is not to perform. Your goal is to discover. Simple, Sincere comments and questions will take you much farther than polished speeches. Do not mentally rehearse your next line while they are speaking. When your mind runs ahead, you lose the thread of what they are saying, and your responses become mismatched or shallow. Instead, trust that you will find something to say when they finish. For now, give all your attention to understanding them. Your eyes, your nods, your small reactions will tell them that you are truly listening. To make this a part of who you are, I suggest a small daily challenge. Each day, choose one person, just one. It could be a colleague, a neighbor, a barista, a classmate, or a stranger at an event. For 30 seconds, make it your quiet mission to help that person feel genuinely interesting. Use the formula: greeting, name, small comment, question about them, then listen. 30 seconds is not long, but repeated day after day, it will change you. You will begin to notice how often people light up when given the chance to talk about themselves. You will see how quickly the atmosphere of a room softens when even one person practices this kind of attention. And you will discover that your own attractiveness has very little to do with standing out and everything to do with drawing others out. Let us bring everything we have spoken about into a clear picture. Attractiveness does not begin with your appearance. It begins with your attention. You can spend hours polishing your looks, rehearsing stories, or improving your style. But if people feel small, ignored, or unimportant in your presence, they will not be drawn to you for long. The most magnetic people are not always the most beautiful or the most brilliant. They are the ones who awaken the best in others. Around them, people feel more alive, more interesting, more themselves. You have learned that there is one simple shift at the heart of this: changing the direction of your attention. Instead of asking, "Do they like me?" you begin to ask, "How do they feel when they are with me?" Instead of trying to seem interesting, you set out to find others interesting. You do this first with your inner posture, your quiet decision to discover something admirable, and then with your outer ritual, your greeting, your questions, your genuine listening. You may have spent much of your life seeing yourself as unremarkable or unnoticed. Perhaps you have stood at the edge of rooms feeling invisible. Perhaps you believe that only those with special looks or talents could ever be truly attractive. But that story is not fixed. You can become someone others seek out, not because you shout the loudest, but because you make them feel most alive. If you wish, you can begin to carry a new label inside yourself. I am someone who makes others feel interesting and valued. Walk into your next conversation with that sentence in your heart. Let it guide your eyes, your tone, your posture. You will notice that people start to respond differently. They will open up more quickly. They will smile more easily. They will remember you not as the person who tried to impress them, but as the one who made them feel worth knowing. To help anchor this new identity, repeat these simple affirmations, quietly but often. I look for what is admirable in others. I become more attractive by helping others feel seen. My attention is my greatest charm. These are not just pleasant phrases. They are choices. Each time you say them and act on them, you move a step away from self-consciousness and a step toward genuine connection. Before you leave this video, I invite you to do something very practical. Today, no later choose one person. It does not have to be someone you wish to impress romantically. It might be a coworker, a family member, a classmate, or a stranger. For 30 seconds, give them your full attention. Use their name. Ask a simple question about them. Listen as if nothing else matters. Notice how they change, and notice how you feel. I would also like to know a little more about you. Where are you watching from? How old are you? And in what area of your life would you like to be more attractive at work, in friendships, in dating, or somewhere else? Share it in the comments. Your story is important, and your words may encourage someone who feels just as you do. And if you want to keep learning how to connect with people in ways that make you naturally liked, genuinely respected, and deeply valued, I invite you to subscribe. This is only the beginning of who you can become.